Liam, the impact of the new risk mindset in terms of developing business. What's your view?
Yeah, you didn't warn us about this question in advance, Neil Canty.
It came out of your panelist statement.
This is a challenge for all businesses and whatever else. And I think there is a question when you're in the middle of a pandemic or a crisis like this of actually trying to get our heads around risk and what is the real risk that we're actually talking about here. I heard somebody comment to me recently, kind of going, they made a comment, throwaway comment, sure, even if it was a 4% risk of that, you wouldn't do it. And they're thinking going, I've started 3 years in my professional life so far where it looked like we weren't going to make through the year still in business, between in various places that I've been, and you're kind of looking at that going, that's probably slightly than a 4% bit of risk, it's substantially higher than that. I think kind of in the short term, getting back into the office is going to be I think a challenge over the next few months, because as long as if you like, risk predominates, the advantages of being in the office are actually reduced, because the main reason that most of us actually want to be in the office or want to be in cities and want to be out and around the place is that we're developing new relationships, we're talking to people, we're chatting to people, we're discussing new ideas, we're interchanging and interacting with each other in a kind of a normal way. And while online is fantastic, there is a barrier there, and that you almost need a reason almost to ring somebody, while you can actually kind of, if you're in the office, just be wandering around and you bump into them and things like that. And so much comes out of those sort of relationships. And the way I see offices opening up at the moment, and what I've seen on plans for opening them up, that's not even possible over the next 4 or 5 months, because offices have been opened up in such a way that people have to sit at their desks, they're within plastic barriers around them, there's canteens aren't opening, there's queues for toilets, but different things like that, and practical things which don't get to the heart of actually the office space. And I think one thing that might be interesting in the long term coming out of this is maybe reimagining the office space, not as a place where people sit, but actually more the dynamic of the office space as how people interact with each other and how they bounce ideas off each other and things like that. And that's the real thing, kind of in a digitized economy where we can work at home. The real advantage of actually being close to people is the fact that we can actually bounce those ideas off each other. And again, we're struggling with this. How do you, if you like, develop new work and develop new relationships in an online sort of situation? I think the Irish and Indian are very, very similar in that, kind of ultimately, to build that relationship, you want to actually sit across the table and actually look into the whites of their eyes and know the person, and that's more difficult when you're doing it on a situation like that. And I think ultimately some sort of balance will have to be achieved in relation to that. I'm not minimizing the risk in relation to the current crisis, but I think there are other risks there as well, and ultimately we will have to balance that for the good of all.
One of the things I always say is that business is built on personal relationships, and that's particularly true in Ireland and India. So as you say, and the IIBA has thrived on the fact that we have interpersonal relationships with the association. So as a group, we will have to think of ways that we can create that link in the short term, or even the medium term.